Hi, my name is Rebecca Tipton, and I'm with Rocket City HR Consulting. And I'm here as part of a four-part series to talk about fostering your employee satisfaction while working remotely. Due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, many employers are finding themselves managing remote workforces and are even continuing to manage remote workforces after the crisis is over. And why not? There are many benefits to having a remote workforce, including increased employee satisfaction, which can lead to lower turnover, lower absenteeism, and increased productivity. However, studies have found that those levels of employee satisfaction tend to plateau at about the amount where the employee is working the majority or the entirety of the time from their home. Thankfully, studies have shown there to be four mediating factors to counter this effect, which are the quality of the relationship between your employee and their coworkers, the quality of the relationship between your employee and you as their supervisor, the perceived amount of trust that the employee feels from you as their supervisor, and the level of support, both technical and personnel, that the employee is receiving from their company. Today, in the first part of this series, we're going to talk about how to foster the quality of the relationships between your employee and their coworkers. Working remotely can isolate your employees from each other. Instead, you should encourage your employees to regularly reach out to each other. If employee A were to reach out to you with a particular problem that you know employee B happens to be really strong in, advise your employees to work together as a team in order to solve the problem. Make sure your employees also have access and knowledge of how to use the communication tools that you provide. You can use Microsoft Teams or Slack or Google Chats, but make sure that your employees know how to use them and set up guidelines for how they are to use them. By setting up the expectation that your employees should respond within X amount of time to another employee during regular business hours, you will encourage the regular use of those communication tools. Finally, make sure you're using those communication tools and guidelines yourself. You should be setting the guideline and using those communication tools to check in with your employees and see how they're doing. Which leads us to part 2 of our video series, promoting the quality of the employee's relationship with you as their supervisor. In part 1 of the series, we ended talking about how you as the supervisor should also be using the same communication software and tools and guidelines that your employees are using in order to check in with your employees regularly. In order to improve the quality of your relationship with your employee, you should be regularly checking in with your employees, preferably once daily, even if it's just to quickly check in, see how their day is doing, or if they're having any trouble with that project that they've been working on. Second, make yourself available to your employees. Make sure your employees know the best way of reaching you if there is a problem. And if possible, make your schedule known to your employees so if they can't reach you, they'll understand why and they'll know that you'll reach out to them as soon as you are available. Next, set up more structured check-ins with your employees as well. You can have regular weekly one-on-one meetings with your employee with a detailed agenda so your employee knows what to expect from the meeting and what they can bring to the table. You can set these meetings up where the first part of the meeting is designed for you to discuss any upcoming changes that affect your employee either directly or indirectly. The second part of the meeting can be used to discuss your employee's recent productivity. And then the third part of the meeting can be used to allow your employee to discuss any obstacles they've been facing or questions they have regarding certain processes or changes or concerns that may be building in their mind. While it may not always be an easy conversation, having an honest back and forth with your employee will make your employee feel more settled and less in the dark.